So I wasn't planning on doing this, honestly, because I look crustier than a bag of potato chips right now. Especially in my nice 4K camera. Get down, go. So I thought I would set an hour timer and take you guys through some of the thoughts that I'm going through right now, which is in response to this. So the short version of it is that I'm making a short film. I'm making my first official short film. And I'll start here. Let's start sharing my screen, sharing a complete window. Let's just share this entire window, I guess. Yeah, let's do that. And I should be able to do this and this and this as I'm doing that. So I'll go here, right? No. This is my main YouTube channel. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. And I post all of my work in here. I've got some bad work, you know. I've got some okay work that I really don't know what I was doing when I made this. I just made it and posted it. And then I have like some of my best work on here, like Christian's video, Jaden's video, and this. So it's really between this video right here that it's a 48-hour film challenge. The access to make a short film in 48 hours. And this, the breaker loop concept. Both of these, in short, were me playing around the concept of self-filming and filming a one-subject person in the other aspect, and working with that concept in its entirety. So for this one, it was at the time. So hold on. So the idea was that at the time, the Vantalord thing was going on, and him and the other dude, I forgot what his name was, where we're going to war type situation, and hundreds of people were making TikToks about it. So I put my personal spin on what the timeline looked like, and there was supposed to have been a clip in here that didn't actually make the final edit of me waking up from that dream scenario in a very Batman v Superman type action with a future version of myself standing over my body, almost in a more dramatic version of "we've got to hide the body," or "there's no cheese and crackers in prison," like trying to warn me of the incoming war and the what happens because of the sides that people were taking from TikTok, that this actually got serious, that this actually became an issue because of this joke that was going around on TikTok. So, and he was trying to warn me and trying to get me to stop this before it happened. That was the idea. Second one was this short film I made when I was going to school. I don't go to school anymore. That's a whole nother thing. But nonetheless, when I was going to school, literally the day before classes, I heard about a short film challenge that other classes were participating in. I was like, can I participate? And they were like, yeah, you have a day, but like, sure, you can participate. And I did. And let me say, there's only one, kind of two people that outdid me. And when it comes to camera work, nobody outdid me. Okay. Because nobody has really been able to do that within my vicinity. And I'm actually actively seeking out to see films where people are, where I can be like, how did you do that? And then copy it. And then, really try to push myself a little bit more, because I haven't been able to find a person that I know that they're able to outdo me when it comes to camera work and things of that nature, and I want to meet somebody like that. But the whole idea was, what I remember from the project was, has to be I think they said under 5 minutes long, which my video was 5 minutes and 5 seconds, I think it was. And it's only because of this. It had to include car keys and something else, and I forgot. And the whole idea of the project is that this is my little brother. I'm voicing over the project as it is, and I have narcolepsy. So when I at the time that this is filmed, I was on a medication called armodafinil for my narcolepsy to help with my sleep problems. But also a fun fact about narcolepsy, at least from my narcolepsy, is that carbs do not help me in the slightest. They do not help me. Like when I tell you it is a bad idea for me to eat carbs, especially certain type of carbs, like this donut right here from this particular shop, not even a chance. I got an hour tops. So literally it happens in the film that he eats it, he goes to sleep right here. He wakes up hours later, and the film, I'm actually really proud of this still. The film takes a drastic turn where you see this change of color because he has a project due. I have a project due, and I need to get back to school. And I took a break. I ate this donut. Time is overpassed, and there's that change of color that just kind of just happens, and everything goes into this very harsh, high key black and white scenario. Um, yeah, yeah, and that's the majority of the film is me trying to meet this due date after having slept in or overslept because I ate said donut from right here, and that's the idea of the film. But this is my first official short film, you know, and the premise of the storyline for CAECUS, the premise of the storyline is that so the entire premise of CAECUS is literally defined by this opening line. It's the fine line between love is blind, and literally CAECUS is Latin for blind. Um, and the storyline revolves around a young man who's a photographer, and he just lives an average, ordinary, very simplistic and repetitive lifestyle until he meets the first woman he can never meet in color. Now in the film, I'm taking this image, I'm sure people have probably seen this image before. It's from Pixar's Paperman. That was a big inspiration for the concept, not the concept, but rather the imagery of it, and the fact that the film takes place in black and white, with the exception being that the main female protagonist, um, the love interest of the storyline, she actually is in color when he meets her for the first time. And that's what causes the rest of the world to come into color for him. And the movie is really a message of there's a lot of things of it. Centers around, how a man can affect a woman's life, the highs, the lows, and as told through that visual aspect of it, going from that high contrast black and white to a dreamy, chromatic, in color scenario of a film. Um, I wanted to express what it looks like for a man to fall in love for the first time, or just to fall deeply in love, period, and how that can affect his life in a good way and in a bad way. And the other thing I wanted to do is I wanted to show um the intimate details of what it looks like to be in a relationship. I don't have the screenshots of it right now because I'm not logged into that account, that Instagram account. I'm actually really taking a break for the next week or so for my own Instagram account and making content like this so that I can put it up. So by the time you guys see this video, I guess the video will be done and I'll be back on Instagram. So nonetheless, I was taking a break at the moment. I don't have the screenshots for it, but I asked a bunch of people, guys and girls, about their relationships, what caused them to become attracted to their partners. And one dude gave the answer that I would have had if I was in a relationship and what I want in a relationship. And I resonated with it. And I won't reveal any names or whatnot, but he talked about the types of things. It's like, I wanted to capture that type of male gaze. Typically, if I do a quick Google search, right? Male gaze in films, right? If I do a quick Google search, I'm going to come up with something along, perfect example. This is the male gaze. This is what uh people assume, or what is shown actively in media as the male gaze. The difference between the male gaze and the female gaze. You got the fish leggings and and I think she was wearing go-go boots in that sequence, but short, the short crop top with the holes in it, and you can see through the bra and the ponytails, versus the bang cut, fully dressed, um more vibrancy, honestly, in comparison to this. um Very different, you know. And just in general comparison, you see it in Widow's look, her evolving of the looks. This is a bad example, honestly, but like over time, Widow's look gets more and more appropriate as time goes on, and especially when you look back at, this is part of the reason why I can't even watch, you know, the old Avengers movies, like Josh Whedon's Avengers 1 in Age of Ultron. I can't watch those films because I feel like I'm going to look at them and end up getting upset about just what he did and how he did as his filmmaking, um in general, you know. Wonder Woman is affected by it a little bit. She basically wears the exact same outfit in this movie, but Whedon, especially in this film, did her dirty. And they had to even get an entire stunt double um for one of the scenes because Gal Gadot was completely uncomfortable doing that. This is a good example of it and whatnot. 10 ways Josh Whedon is worse, and Josh Whedon's Wonder Woman is worse in Josh Whedon's Justice League. Yeah. Versus 1984, like she's wearing the same outfit in every film, and yet somehow they managed to do it differently. Let's view this. This perfect example of the male gaze. This is probably the most PG scene in the whole movie. That's the crazy part too. Um, Megan Fox was a perfect example of that in the early 2000s. Huge crush on Megan Fox when I was a kid, but nonetheless, that doesn't change the fact that that's a perfect example of it. And the Transformers movies as a whole was a perfect example of it, because whether you were talking about Carly or Megan or honestly, even when they got to her, it was like, yo, what's going on? Like, I don't know a brother that doesn't know who Isabella Moner is. And you know, they kept it somewhat PG because, you know, she was a child when this movie came out. But let her have been 18, it'd have been a wrap. It'd have been an entire wrap. For yeah, with that, I don't want to show this. This is what I'm actively going against in every way physically possible. Feminist theory, male gaze is acting depicting women in the world in the visual arts and liberal masculinity, heterosexual perspective represents women as sexual objects for the pleasure of heterosexual male viewers. So yeah, that is what it is. I don't want to show this, but I do want there to be a positive aspect to the male gaze, you know? I want there to be that. So I can't, because I couldn't explain it. I'm like, let me just show you. Let me just show you what it is that I want to see, what it is that I'm trying to develop and see. And that's where a big piece of CAECUS came from and how it is. Now, then I found the meaning and, you know, the fine line between you know, love and obsession, and the very controversial question, because it comes from the Bible. What scripture is that? You know, let me see what I can find. The scripture: who finds a wife, a man who findeth a wife finds treasure. Proverbs 18:22. So I'm gonna write that down here. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that as a note there. And the question of it is that it begs is, does a man find does a man who finds a wife find a good thing, or wifey, in whatever case, soulmate, whatever you want to call it? When he finds a partner, does he always find a good thing? And that's the question of the day, because it's like, this could be wrong time, wrong just a wrong time presentation. Like, he's not in the stage of life where he's ready for that yet. It could just be in a bad interaction. It could be that they're not compatible at all. And that's the questions that you ask yourself, or you want to see in the character itself, of like, bro, you just need to go ahead and just cut this out. Like, you just need to go back to the old life. Like, the film starts off with this character in a certain position. He gets his new height. He's found love and he's seen the world in a different way. And then as things happen, you start to question, should he have ever have been in love in the first place, or should he have just stayed alone and stayed abstinent, and stayed single? That's the question you start to ask yourself as a for this character. So the point is that as I'm creating this character, I knew that canon, which is what his name is, um, I knew there was a couple of things that were important for me to find for canon, and I'm gonna pull them up now. So I'm just gonna go to my personal account because I know I'm following the guy there. So followed about 1,000 people. That's crazy. There we go. So this is who he's based off of, because not only is bro, and no homo, bro is mad attractive. Come on, look at him. Come on, he found his look. Like, he absolutely found his look with the hair and the mustache, with no beard, with the 50s dad look and whatnot. And here's the thing, is that you're seeing a surplus of female accounts that are what is it, commenting and saying like they agree. It's like, oh yeah, it's like he's an attractive person, you know what I'm saying? And if that's the case for that's what I kind of want for the character. I kind of want you to ask yourself, it's like, he's single. Why is he single? And it's not because of, you know, oh, he's what's it called? He's not what would you call it? He's not unattractive. He's actually actively taking care of himself in a certain regard, but he just, like, he went through this process already. He already went through the boys to men process, where he started going to the gym. You can see he's lifting more. He put on the mustache. That's his signature and whatnot. And he just found what works for him as far as style goes, as far as his hair goes, as far as the way he dresses and things like that. And you see a major difference in that. That is where our character is. Some I'm not take I mean this in the best way possible, because if he's ever happened to be, I'll probably tag him in a clip of this. This version of bro, this is not where we're starting. We're not starting here. As a matter of fact, we're actively starting with this guy. This is where we're starting. So he's not, and here's the thing, what's also great about it, again, I mean this in the best way possible, nothing about this dude is unattainable. He's still got acne, you know? He still actively has to to dress himself and whatnot. And right here, you see where he's like he has to slick down the hair and still do his hair. He's showing that he's a real human being. That's the point that I'm getting to. He's not some celebrity that doesn't almost feels like they're not real. He's big. Bro is big as he's huge. But he's not Hugh Jackman, Wolverine cut with plastered abs and all that type of stuff. He got a vein, a forearm sticking out right here, but he's not like crazy jacked or ripped or anything like that. He's just extremely muscular and works out and takes care of his health. That's what he is. And he seems to have always been of that, and I kind of envy that a little bit, just because I'm personally out of shape myself and working on that as of 2024. We'll come back to that at some point, but nonetheless, he's not only doing that, he's also using his what's it called? He's also using his style, the style that he's found and created, and his size to his advantage, to mix them together And like said, bro, so bro lost weight and looked up 60 style. Hey, I guess it worked. Yeah, it worked because like you wouldn't have normally saw that on a brother. Uh, um, what is it? That fit, this fit, or these looks on a brother of this size with a handlebar mustache. Well, not okay. It's not handlebars, but it's getting there in some of these interests and some of these instances right here. That's where it's getting. And again, no matter what video you come to, you're seeing constantly. This is to women what sexy underwear is to men. Yeah, you're seeing, you know, the constant of women who are just like, oh, he's attractive. I'm attracted to him, which is what I want from my main character. The same way you would get from a, you know, slice of life romance male protagonist in a certain way. And I'm trying to do that without being using the negative aspects of the female gaze, which is your 6'2" over what is it, dressed, well no, underdressed, um unrealistically jacked, you know, protagonist whose pores are smaller than, you know, the universe itself, or like he doesn't have pores at all. Like there's this guy, and then there's, who's a good example of, no shade at big boy Chris, you know, like, but this man right here, let's be absolutely honest, this is one of those dudes that will steal your girl. He will absolutely steal your girl without a question and a doubt. There are so many people out here that look at this man and will give up their social security number, especially in this look right here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm sure if I pull this up long enough, you're gonna find a Chris Evans fan account. My point's made. I think my point's made. You know, I think it's made. A fan account for these guys. That's your. He's doing it somehow, but he's a 1%er. He's got good genetics. He's taking care of himself. He's got the money to take care of himself. He's an actor. He's like, this is his whole thing, you know. Versus Mikey, that's a normal brother. That's a normal 22. He's 22. Hold on. Nonetheless, that's a normal brother who's just looks good and takes care of himself and knows how he found his calling, his style, his look, and he's living in that, you know. Point is that this is what I want my main character to look like. I want him, oddly enough, I'm looking at this individual post, I want him to be a photographer. You know, I want him to be a photographer, and that's where me turning on the camera happened in the first place. So the reason I'm doing all of this and going through all these paces is that I'm trying to figure out what type of person Canon is, which is the main character's name. What does he do? What is his day-to-day routine and life look like? I had a couple of notes already put aside, you know. So like here, I put aside that, you know, he's he lives in a slightly futuristic world. So like for instance, he has a classic iPod that's being used the same way that you would use an iPad or a Amazon, not Amazon, Alexa system or something like that. You know, that's the same way that a classic iPod is being used. And that's something in the film that I'm going to play around with, is these objects, like the fact that I don't know if I'm going to be able to get one, but I mean, they're not super inexpensive either. Like, this is not a bad price for one. I want it to be that. Let's see if I can find one, because I know of a camera that will be able to do this. But what I want is for, you know, to have this old vintage digital look in the camera itself, like this, you know, very metal body, X, Y, and Z, all that type of stuff. Maybe not even a screen on the back of it, but then at some point in the film, you notice him put a USB port in the camera, the same way you would with, any other type of camera to try to pull the SD card off of it and whatnot. And I want it to be that photographers or maybe the general audiences even get to the point that they realize it's like, wait a minute, if that's supposed to be an old film camera, why is he plugging that into his computer? How is he doing that? He should have to go home and develop the film and whatnot. And it's small details like that show like this blend of societies. Here's a perfect example. Back to the Future 2, when they went to 2015 and Back to the Future 2, you know, they was expecting us to have flying cars by that point at that point. Let's see. And in the film itself, you have the DeLorean present, and then you have cars like this. You have these cars that are present in the film as if as if that's something that we would drive. But then you also have cars like this that are present in the film. Like, they could only do so much because of what it is. I wanted to be a blend of technology, of old school technology. This is a great example. This is probably from their I don't know what they're called. They're like story Bibles or whatever. So pretty grainy image, but nonetheless, old school cars, classic cars, the classic to me at least in 2023, but they tried to modernize them up in ways that didn't seem possible back then, but surely must have been possible by the time we get to 2015, 2014, right? And we still haven't gotten anywhere near this, but nonetheless, I want to blend those together. So I want instances like, another camera that I can think of is, there we go. So it's the Leicas. So this is what I was looking for. I'm looking for images of the Leica Q, the Leica Q series. So this is the other camera that would be interesting to have and to use in the series, because I think this camera actually does have the ports built into it that I want, and it has this very unique, simplistic body and whatnot that, let's say, like this one right here, the M11, the rangefinder. The M11 rangefinder, first off, that's the reason why we can't do that, because I don't have unlimited funds to spend on a $8,000 working prop camera. Don't have that type of money. Two, this is what I would want to do, but this is never happening. Like, this is never happening. But this is the type of, like, it looks like, your classic cameras. It looks like something straight out of the 50s. With the simple red and black and gray design, the metal frame of the body, but that simple little red dot on the front of it, with the logo. Like, it looks like something that I could see being made in the 50s. And from there, that would be the camera that he uses as a photographer. Now, what type of photography would he be doing? I thought about him being a portrait photographer, thought him about being something else, but I knew something that I wanted from the film was I want him to have interactions with other people, including his best friend, in an office space, similar to how you saw in Paperman. There's the scenes of him in the office, very depressed, minute, and X, Y, and Z, and you see others behind him and whatnot, and you see all these guys sitting at their office desks and whatnot, and it's this idea of, from our perspective as the audience, the first thing you should think of is that, oh, he's alone. But the other thing you should think about is the fact of, it's like, well, has he ever actually tried to, talk to these guys? Because I think another huge inspiration of the film is probably the characteristics of this guy right here. His mindset and his lack of focus, and the way that he blocks out other people and makes assumptions about, who they are and what they want and how they treat him and whatnot. and how that all changes over time, as he meets the others and gets his best friend and falls in love and all those good things. You see all that begin to change drastically, but the entire time he's even still kind of wary at the fact of like, you know, people don't like him, and that's why he puts up all these barriers and he doesn't look people in the eyes and things like that. So from that perspective, you look at the film double sided as like, this is how he feels. And then in reality, this is actually how he's acting and why this is happening in the first place. So I'm trying to figure out what type of photographer I want him to be, because I want them to all work in a group, right? And I thought about what if they're a photographer's equivalent to a label? Well, what would that look like? Well, what if they were photographers that work as a group underneath a boss of some sort, and they're all like, taking photos and videos and pictures for a social media website or something like that. And I'm like, that just sounds like a news outlet. That just sounds like, you're a news outlet of some sort. So now it's causing me to go down this rabbit hole of, you know, what is it? Let's go photography. Journalistic photography. And it's causing me to go down this route of what is journalistic photography and whatnot. And what does that look like in today's world? It's also making me think about something like TMZ. Like at one point I thought about it for a second of like, what would TMZ look like? Because TMZ has hundreds of stories that are coming out on a daily about, uh, any any and everything, the smallest of details that you could possibly think of, being taken photos of, and things like that happening. And it's like, these guys have hundreds of pictures like that. So what if it was a, better version of TMZ, but they're in a major city type situation, right? What would that look like? Photojournalism is the communication of news through photos. So now I'm trying to think. He and this group, they work for a company. They're in a specific city, or let's say a tri-city area, because honestly, the film's supposed to take place in downtown Aurora. I don't know if I want it to actually be Aurora, but if need be, for the sake of it, I'd be okay with the tri-state area type situation of maybe it's Aurora, Oswego, no, Aurora, Naperville, and something else. Maybe not Oswego. Oswego's kind of like, let's look this up really quickly. Okay, right. So here's Naperville, yada yada yada. So maybe Plainfield. Plainfield is literally just a plain field. Bolingbrook. This is nice, interesting stuff. A lot of maybe Batavia. Batavia is also like super like, cause like the two biggest cities out here, is Aurora, Naperville, and then I would honestly say it's Oswego next. Honestly, just don't want to do Oswego because of how plain Oswego is. So maybe I'll just do Plainfield instead. Yeah, so we'll make it we'll make it this little tri-state area of Aurora, Plainfield, Naperville, and the tri-state surrounding area of the three cities, and everything that's going on. So Route 30, Route 50, Route 59, and go from there. And the idea of the projects, right? Dang, that's Maple Park. That's Maple Park. We couldn't have been all the way out there. That's crazy. This has to be different from Maple Park Lane. Um, so the idea is with these characters, right? And everything is like, what type of business are they running? Like I'm basically, here's the thing. I'm basically creating a fake business. I'm creating a fake business with all these characters. I'm going so in depth on this to create these fake businesses with a brand new type of business model, and what I'm trying to figure out what is their business model, so I can figure out what role does Canon play in said business model, to figure out what was he doing when he bumped into his love interest in the story. Like, this is the entire reason why it takes so long to create stuff with me, because it's just like, I can't get past that. I can't just make up like, oh, he's a photographer. Okay, what type of photographer is he? What does he do? All type of stuff. This may never get said in the film. Matter of fact, none of it's getting said in the film because the film has no words. But I want to know. I want to know what he was doing. I want to understand why it is that he's a photographer and what he's taking pictures of and what they're getting used for. I don't want it to not make sense, you know? And it used to be super simple. I could just call him a journalistic photographer, Peter Parker style, have him take some pictures and make it that he was taking pictures of some key openings in the city, you know? And I'm trying to make it where we can go out and take pictures of just about anything. And it'll apply to the scenario of what's going on. Why? So that there's no need for a budget to get extras and a cast together and all this other stuff for whatever the case may be. If we do that, the only thing that I would consider doing is, you know, hiring, I don't know, one or two extras or something like that, you know, and maybe. So I'm thinking, what if I got one or two extras, you know, someone like a hold on. Let me look at this really quickly. So here's who I'm thinking of off the top of my head. I got a couple people in mind actually. So the first person off the top of my head is, I gotta go to my personal accounts and pull up my following list. I'm not following her here. Gotcha. I guess I'm not following her here either. Okay. Okay, so we won't bring up that person because I can't even, you know, follow them or show the account or anything like that. What's another good one? This one could work. I don't know how they feel about it. I feel like I don't know how they feel about doing this, but they honestly could be, you know, they could work. This is one of my good friends, one of my best friends easily, Jacob Lombardi, and this is actually the whole crew. I wasn't in this photo. Actually, I'm right here. Yeah, this is the whole crew. Short version of it is that, you know, what if? So I think this is the only photo they have posted together right now. This is his lady, um my sister-in-law. This is Suki. And what if I got them and had him propose, like the character, like playing characters that were proposing and whatnot, and had, you know, Canon taking pictures of that for the first time of that proposal happening, you know. Another one that would be interesting is, dang, we look young. That's crazy. It's absolutely insane. Is this guy right here? You know, there's quite a few people that would you know, that I could see paired with that he could, you know, pull off a quick proposal. And that'd be fun to have him cameo in one of my films really quickly, you know, as a character in it. He's also a great addition to the project, or just the idea as a whole. This is Daniel Beals. He is starring in Christian's upcoming project, you know, and he'd be interesting to do, to have that done. Him and his girlfriend, having him and his girl, you know, together and doing a sort of proposal type situation. That would be That'd be interesting. That'd be fun, and it'd be meta. Like, I want it to be that the sequence can be done super quickly. These two probably wouldn't do it though, because to my understanding, she doesn't like being on camera. Nonetheless, short version of it is that trying to pick a couple, somebody that I know that could pull off a quick marriage proposal, and let it be that the characters Cannon and his crew, or his coworkers and friends and whatnot, they're all part of an overlapping. You know what? I actually like that idea. So I think what I'm gonna have it is that they're part of this. They're part of a team of they're part of a team of they're part of a team of content creators that focus on videography and photography and whatnot. And this one would be perfect. These two just got engaged recently. These would be perfect, but I don't know if they could pull off the acting bit for it. um these two would be perfect as well too, because they just recently got engaged as well too. Yeah, this would be interesting to see these two, um, and get that on camera and whatnot. And but she's in L.A., so we'd have to really to figure that out, and figure out how to get that done. But nonetheless, that would be interesting. That'd be fun to have him do it, to have them do it. But they work for a videography and wedding photography business, and they're you know on the in between, them doing the major gigs together type situation. They also do the individual gigs of, like, your wedding engagements and um maybe bridal shower. Is it bridal showers? Yeah, bridal showers. That's a big thing. Would they do I don't know what the groomsmen's party is called again. Well, the little trip or thing that they want to do beforehand or whatever. I forgot what that's called at all. But nonetheless, that would also give me a chance to also do this in an interesting manner. What if I could figure out how to get something more than just a regular TV? If it had to be a regular TV, it could just be a regular TV. But I want to do something more, and I want to have one of this guy's videos playing in the background somewhere, one of his TikToks getting scrolled past. Because if you're into the wedding videography business, possibly for wedding photography too, but especially if you're into the wedding videography business, and you don't know who this guy is yet, I'm putting you on game. Justin Porter. If Peter McKinnon is the king of photographers, Justin Porter is the lord of wedding videographers. This is an entire unit of a man here whose business is like, yeah, we could do it, but we're gonna do it this way because it's better. We're going to do it this way because this right here, this entire image of him, activating a miniature sun so that he can have a spotlight during a wedding receptions. Why? Because he can. That is his entire thing, taking the most aggressive approach to filmmaking I've ever seen in my life and saying, we finna do this for a wedding. We're going to make it look live up in here. So much stuff, so many lights, so many cameras, audio, time codes, aggressive with it too. Just aggressive. They shoot so much footage. They do so much stuff. Like, this comment says it all. My man has 47 mics at that wedding. I did not miss a word. One day I'll be on this level. Yeah. I don't understand where and how and when he got that much equipment. Somebody needed to cancel his credit cards because it's ridiculous. Like, the fact that he shoots on what's his camera at that he shoots on. He just recently, he shoots on a Komodo X. Why? because he can, you know. And it works into, he put it into his workflow and made it work, or rather, he made his workflow around that. Um, he's shooting on black magics and cinema cameras. He's no longer a wedding videographer. He's a wedding filmmaker. He different with it. So my point is that having this guy present in the background would be a nice little Easter egg and nod, because I also think that it would be fun to be able to make this film for photographers and filmmakers, where they can be like certain things that they do, certain things that they're known for, that we as videographers or photographers do. It's like, yeah, this is exact. We definitely do stuff like this all the time, and they can have a little chuckle like, yeah. It's like another videographer would look in the background and see Justin Porter and be like, oh yeah, Porter, yeah, yeah. I'm glad that's probably great that that's on TV. They're probably learning something right now. You know, they're probably about to purchase like $5,000 worth of lights right now. You know, so I think that's what I'm gonna follow this account on here too. Oh, this is a good one. I might do both. I might have like a TikTok scroll by and have it be Porter at first, and then have it be Justin afterwards, because that's a good one. Well, Porter at first, and then Matt, because Matt is a great wedding photographer who, honestly, I would consider him to be a nice equivalency, especially since the two really enjoy working together and I've done a podcast together and things like that, of, you know, what's it called, as far as like the combination of videography and photography in the filmmaking, in the wedding, you know, media space. But point is that I think I got it. I think I'm gonna have them be a business of wedding videographers and photographers. And honestly, here's what I would do. Um, me personally, I would probably have a couple of people cameo. Let me go back here. Let me go to my account. Let me look. I would want, I know some of these guys in real life, which is why I'm pulling them up. I told her about this project a while ago when we used to work together, so I want to call her up and see if she'd want a cameo really quickly. There's another Abby as well too that is actively trying to do photography and whatnot. I think she'd be interesting to have in the film as an extra background character of some sort. This guy Matthew Kimani, crazy work, crazy visuals. You know, um, he'd be very interesting to have in frame and whatnot, as far as background characters and whatnot, you know, speaking lines or anything like that. Um, I really want him for my crew, honestly, but I wouldn't be upset at him being, you know, a background character of sort in the film. Um, I can't find who I'm looking for. This Josh, though, this just made me think about it too. This Josh, though, would be somebody I want there too. He's, you know, making videos and getting into photography and videography and doing a really good job too. Really proud of the work that he's putting out right now, you know? So I want to be that the actual people in the background and stuff like that you're seeing all these photos getting taken of. Sloan could be a part of it if she's still doing work currently. I haven't seen her post in a minute, you know? This was 24 weeks ago. Yeah, so this is 8 weeks ago. She's still at in regarding senior pictures, right? So she's still actively doing work and whatnot. Oh, okay. All right, girl. Congrats. I didn't know she graduated. Never mind. That's her baby sister. But nonetheless, so she's doing that. She's doing, you know, pregnancy fake pictures and whatnot. She doing she's doing couples photos at this point. But the point is that it would be really cool as some ROI that if I could get, you know, Sloan and the rest of these guys to act in the film, what if I could get them, you know, some return. Here's what I would want to do, right? For this imaginary rings. I think I'm gonna call it that. I think I'm gonna call it imaginary rings. I'm gonna make a fake Instagram account called Imaginary Rings, and I'm gonna put down all of these names. A wedding video slash photo company featuring appearances from Sloan, Matthew Kim, Josh Forth, Josh Munson, Abby Callie, I forgot what her last name was entirely. I completely forgot what her last name was. Laho. I would probably want like two more photographers or two more people to fit into this role. Maybe three. Maybe like another photographer to cap this out. And two people for like administrate, like the big boss and then administration, you know? Imaginary photo company called Imaginary Rings. And here's what I would do. I would make this fake Instagram account called Imaginary Rings, and all those couples that I named off before, right? I'm gonna write these down really quickly. What did I find? I found Daniel Barnes and Co. Angie and Nico. Let's do Mary Gard and Co. Lily and Co. Lily Wing and Co. I'm spelling that wrong. Great. Who didn't have a post? It was Daniel who didn't have a post up. So Lily, Mary, Angie, Daniel. Emma doesn't live in state anymore, so not Emma. Yeah, not Emma. But maybe Abby. I know a ton of Abbies for some strange ass reason. I don't know why I know this many Abbies. But Brackett and John. Abby, Brackett, and John. I need like one more older couple, you know? Somebody that I ain't really got no black couples in here. So I'll put Beals down just to be safe. And the reason I'm putting these all down is that these guys, and I'm finding them on my own, but if anybody can find some amongst the list of people that I have as down, because all of these guys are active photographers in the field in some shape, form, or fashion, or aspiring photographers. The only person on here that I don't know, there was only two people on here that I don't know do like paid work, and it's Laho and Munson. But everybody else does paid work, like not consistently, but has done paid work and whatnot, has posted up stuff and things of that nature. So finding so even if it's just these six right here, it would be finding these guys, taking them on like maybe even doing them all in the same day, you know, doing them all in the same day and or in the same like 2-day ratio. And as part of the film crew days, you know, I would show off, you know, the process of like they actually went out and took these photos. I actually had Matthew Kim take out Daniel Beals and Jade and do their photos. Sloan took Mary Gard and her boyfriend and they did wedding photos really quickly. Stuff like that. And it would be that the ROI would be in return of like the same way that it is in the series, because in the movie itself, at one point, there's a lack of communication between Cannon and his love interest, Iris. And Iris takes the first initiative to, because she knows the company that he works for, because like something on his shirt or on his bag is going to have like the company logo on it or whatnot. She looks up the company on Instagram and she finds it, and they do a really different job of, instead of it being that, oh, all these pictures are under the Imaginary Rings brand and that's it, that's all. They actively tag all the photographers and people involved. So you can tell when it's like a black and white photo versus a really blue photo versus a very warm orangey photo, a very dark photo versus a very light photo, and you're like, oh, this is John's work, this is Josh's work, this is Abby's work, that's Callie's work. Like, you can tell the differences between the two because of the fact that they actively tag them and people start to catch on to it, right? So it's almost like you get a different writer or a different visionary to the different posts as things go on over time. And the idea is that that's how she finds um Canon. And actually, the thing about Canon is that all of his work is in black and white. So I would want these guys to be able to get some ROI in return by having them uh double in this universe, maybe as their actual selves, maybe as actually Abby Callie, Abby Laho, Matthew Kim, Josh Forth, so that it's like the same way that Sloan had in her bio. She just had it right there. I lost it, but she just had it in her bio where she was saying or in the most recent post of like something about graduation, DM me if basically DM me if you need photos done for your graduation. That was essentially what she was trying to do. It was a call to action. So if there's some ROI that can happen in return where somebody watches the film and one of the things they liked about it was, oh, I love the way this photo was taken. Who took that photo? It was actually homegirl Abby Callie. She's tagged in the Imaginary Rings social media page on Instagram. That's real. Um, and you see all of that. So it's like I've crafted this entire business for the sole purpose of a medium for the character to, meet and then get reintroduced to his love interest. And then on top of that, I've also created a route for there to be, some sort of return on investment if people seek out photos, and I would hope they would. I would hope that people would look at the project and look at the photos and be like, yo, these are really good photos. Who took the photos? And be like, well, actually, they're actually tagged on X, Y, and Z. You could check that out really quickly. And they can go from there. They can start talking to these people and do that and make it that something about short films that's always been interesting. Well, that I found out that's interesting is that a lot of these short films aren't profitable. A lot of these guys just barely break even and usually using their own money to make this happen. I want to figure out how to do that and be profitable, and make some money off of this or get some sort of a return in the investment other than the viewership. So, and maybe that's audacious to try to do in my first project, but I'm gonna try nonetheless, and see what happens. But I'm way over. I said an hour, and I'm at an hour and 11 minutes. So I'm gonna wrap this up and probably just write down everything that I just thought through, and then move on to my next thing for the day. So, peace.